as you read in the title, I come and live in a town of approximately 200 people. That does fluctuate because we've had some births and we've had some deaths, and so we run the gamut of anywhere from 190 to 210. I don't think we've exceeded 210 since I've lived here, and I've been here for approximately 15 years. Actually, it might be 16 years. And so, how do you run a business? How do you get to the top title of a company with only 200 people in your town? So here's a fun fact. The Direct Sales Association says that there needs to be one consultant in whatever direct sales business you're in per 200 customers. I don't really need to be all that great in math to know that I'm it in my town, right? And that's customers. I have, like I mentioned in the comments, I get maybe about 5 people that buy from me in this town. And so this is a conversation that I've had recently with multiple of my team members. Do you think that Walmart would agree, or any successful business would agree to the statement of, if you think you're going to survive a business and grow a business with friends and family only, you are sadly mistaken. We cannot build and we cannot grow a business with our friends and family circle. I have a really big family. I have a French background. We are on the Canadian border here, and our family's really big. I got 2 people, maybe 4 people in my family that buy from me. And we have hundreds. I've got 175 cousins. Seriously. Like, we have a big family. And they don't all buy from me. My friends, my closest friends, I probably have 3 people in my closest friends that buy from me. So if I thought that the 5 people that buy in my town, the 4 people that buy in my family, and the 3 people that buy in my friends circle are going to sustain and build my business, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen, right? In order to create a business, no matter where you're at, first of all, you have got to say in your head that it's possible and that you have the ability to do it, okay? What ends up happening is we become our own roadblocks, and we create this obstacle that we tend to not be able to get around. And so if I had come into this business saying to myself, you know what, I only have 200 people in this town, I'm never going to make it. Like, I'm not going to get any customers. Who's going to do parties with me? Like, half of the population, if not more than the population here in my town, is over 80. Or they're brand new babies. And so I had to come out of the gate with the mindset that I was going to be able to do this and that I was going to do it very well. And so if I had made the decision to struggle, if I had made the decision to say that it was going to be difficult, if I had made the decision and said to myself, I don't think this is going to work, it wouldn't have worked. It would not have worked. And so the very first thing that I'm going to tell you, no matter where you live, how many people are in your town, what type of family you have or don't have, whatever your friends and family circle is, I don't care. It has no bearing on whether you are successful or not. What will have bearing on whether you are successful or not is what you're telling yourself. And so one of the things that it's a phrase that I use, and the story that you tell yourself about yourself is the one that you play out in life. It's the one that you believe. It's the one that your subconscious is playing through every day. And so if that story you're telling about yourself consists of, I can't do this, it's not going to work, nobody's going to buy from me, I can't book any parties, nobody's joining my team, then that is the story that's going to play out in your life and in your business. So here's a tip. Change the story. Change the story to be what it is that you want your life to be, how you want it to play out, that you are capable of recruiting, that you have the ability to make sales. And if you're not going to do it in your town, then you're going to find a means to find new customers, right? Okay. So thank you, Kayleen. I think it's Kayleen. For telling me that you have a small town, that you have 400 people plus people in your town. Listen, I don't care how many people you have in your town. I don't. Especially nowadays, right? We have the internet. We have the ability to be everywhere and anywhere at any time, right? And so we have no excuses. The story that we're going to tell ourselves is that we can do this. We can find new customers. We can create a business that is able to be built on anything, right? Okay. So your mindset is the biggest, it can be either the biggest setback or the easiest or the biggest buildup of your business. So let's choose it to be the biggest buildup. Okay. All right. The first thing that you need to address is your mind. It's your mindset. It's your thought process. It's telling yourself that it is possible to grow a business no matter where you live. Okay. The other thing now is to figure out where you want to find your new business, your new customers, your new team members. And one of the biggest things that has been a super success for me, not only, and listen, this is kind of a given, right? I have a YouTube channel. At the very beginning, it was 90% of my team members came from YouTube. That's huge, right? It could be Facebook. It could be Instagram. It could be TikTok. It does not matter what platform or social media aspect you decide to play in what realm you decide to play in. It's that you do it. It's that you go to those platforms and you create content and you talk to people as a normal human being and not some scripted. Listen, there's a place for everybody. But I know for a fact that I'm going to relate better to somebody who's not scripted. I'm going to relate to somebody who's as scatterbrained as I am. I am going to relate to people who are real, who are authentic and not scripted. I will be the first to tell you that that is not real, because I don't want to show you the hot mess that's going on back there, because it's going to distract me. Not because I don't want to show you. It's that it's going to distract me away from what I'm trying to portray here tonight and talk about, right? I have a scatterbrain. I have squirrel syndrome. And if I see what's going on back there, I'm going to constantly be focusing on it, trying to figure out how to get it done, right? So I hide it, which is fine. So you need to be authentic on these platforms, but you need to pick one and you need to do it. Okay. So I feel like the whole internet aspect is kind of a no-brainer, especially now. I mean, we went through COVID. We're dealing with the fact that, we kind of all got pushed into the internet, because we had no other way of connecting with people. And so it's here. It's a place where we can all gather and play and participate in, but you got to participate. You got to go where the people are. And that's to pick a platform and go live and interact with people and show them who you are. Okay? That was a huge aspect to me building my business. Okay. If you've never been to my YouTube channel, it's the BNS Network, BNS for Beauty and Sense. Or just type in Edie Ann and I'm sure you'll find it. It's my playground. It's where I meet people. It's where I can be myself. It's where I can find information about things other than Scentsy that I can connect with people on. I mean, I think that in itself is important, that you can connect with people outside of Scentsy, right? So do the social media thing. Go live. Connect with people. Be authentic. But I also feel that part of our business comes from home parties, right? And as a resident of a town of 200 people, I tend to have one party a year and it's the entire town that comes. And, you know, we have our party. That's great. Here's the key though. I make it my job to book at least 3 parties from that party. And it's my job to connect with somebody at that party that is not local or has connections that would invite people that are not local, right? I need to expand my network outside of my town. That's vital. So it is my job to book 3 parties and to seek out people at that party that have connections outside of our town. Okay. Now, I grew up in a neighboring town, so that has also been helpful that I can go to that neighboring town and I can have parties there. They have 4,500 people in that town. Woo! Big town. It's not big either, right? It's not big either. But here has been my saving grace. This has been where I have had the ability to expand beyond my town, and that's by doing fundraisers. With fundraisers, you are going to reach people that you never would have reached with just a party or with just you trying to connect. Okay? School fundraisers are the best because you're always going to have people that reach out to the kids that are going to reach out to Aunt Sue that lives in Nevada, right? Or the relatives that live in Connecticut or whatever the case may be. You are going to reach people that you never would have reached unless you did a fundraiser. Now, here's the blessing behind that, right? Fundraisers are a blessing because you are helping organizations, you're helping people. So it has a double benefit because you are helping the community, right, by doing a fundraiser, but you're also helping your business because you're growing your business beyond the town that only has 200 people in it. Okay? Now, it is my job to book 3 parties from my fundraiser. It's my job, right? To me, Scentsy is my career. It's my job. It's what I do every day. And I treat it as such. I treat it as a job. So it is my job to get 3 people to book a party from that fundraiser. Okay? How you do that is totally up to you, whether it's during your follow-up of their order, whether it's during the order providing phase. In other words, when you hand out the orders, maybe there's something inside of your bag that will entice them to book a party. Okay. There are multiple games. There's been times where I will put out playing card games. Guys, there's all, and I'm not going to go into it, but there are all kinds of ways to book parties, right? Games, incentives, where you potentially can give something away or give an extra half price item to somebody who books a party, or in some cases, I will recruit the students to do that. And if they do, then the class that books the most parties or gets the most sales get a pizza party, or they get prizes, or whatever the case may be. You can do those things because in a fundraiser, it's one-on-one communication with the customers, right? Okay, so fundraising has been probably my second biggest way to get outside of my town, my teeny tiny town. Social media has been the first. Okay. And then making it my job to book parties has probably been the third best way to get outside of my small town. Okay. So I think, well, and first and foremost, the biggest and best way to get outside of your town is to tell yourself that you can. That it's not a roadblock, it's not an obstacle. This is something that is capable of being done, and it's up to you to bypass the part of your brain that says you can't do it. Okay. I don't think that it's rocket science. Okay. I honestly believe that those that struggle, and you might not like me for what I'm about to say, but those that struggle are in their own way. If you've got a town of 200 people or less, or more, maybe you live in a town of 30,000 and you're not doing well. It's the story that you're telling yourself. I'm struggling. I can't book. I can't recruit. I can't get people to buy. Nobody's going to my website. Nobody talks to me on Facebook. That's the story that you're telling yourself, and our unconscious mind is playing it out. Listen, this is some factual scientific stuff, okay? We only function on 10% of our conscious thinking, our conscious brain. Did you know that 90% of it is unconscious thinking? Do you think about breathing? Do you think about the hand movements when you're talking, especially if you're French? 10% of what we do on an everyday basis is our conscious thought. Our unconscious mind does not have the ability to think on its own. That's why it's called a subconscious mind, right? It does not have the ability to have thought on its own. So when you put thought in that 10%, 90% of your brain is going to believe whatever it is that you thought about. If you say, Edie, you're ugly, your unconscious mind says, you are right. You are ugly. It doesn't have the ability to know if it's right or wrong, or believable or not believable. It just believes. And so that's why I say the story, the thought that we think about, the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves, is the story that your subconscious mind completely believes and will run through on a daily basis. If 90% of our everyday functions come from our subconscious mind, think about that. We ought to be filling that 10% bucket with some pretty damn good stuff so that it plays out on its own, right? I truly believe that is probably the biggest. You know what? People ask me to talk about stuff all the time, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I can tell you how to do something. I can teach you how to tie your shoe. I can teach you how to make this dish. I can teach just about anything. But whether or not you believe in what I'm teaching you to be truth or not is going to happen in that 10% space of your brain. that thought, right? And so my equation is thought plus action equals result. So the thought that you give yourself and the action, which is that 90% subconscious doing, is going to give you the result. So if your thought is negative, the action will take place on that thought and your result's going to not be so good. If your thought is positive, the action that you take on it is going to run in the direction of that thought, which is going to be a positive action, is going to give you a positive result. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you are right. Think about that. So, I come from a small town, but I don't care. I don't care, and you shouldn't either. Who cares that you come from a small town? Why? Because you have the ability to grow outside of that town. And if all 200 buy from you, great. If all 2 buy from you, great. It starts here, okay? But find ways to get outside of that town. Make it your job. Make it your job to book 3 parties, to ask 3 people, to do the fundraisers, to be authentic and go live on your social media platforms. Choose to succeed.